Right, so you got yourself a fish seeker. Maybe you got the problem that's going in circles. You're putting it out in the water and it's just doing a circle coming back to you, even after you set the GPS, things like that. Couple of things it can be, initially if your circuit board on the GPS things got wet and corroded, you could have a fault with that up inside it in the cone here. Other than that, first thing to check, which is something you can fix if you like, if you want to have a go at fixing it, of course, take your fish seeker apart. What you want to do is get into the motors here, alright, and see if they're actually stuck. They could be corroded. You get a bit of rust in there and the brushes will stick everything together and the motor won't spin. So if you want to check to make sure before you do pull it apart, you can get a wee screwdriver in here and just poke down and just put a little bit of light pressure on the fan. If it doesn't spin, chances are your motor's got corroded. Alright, so I've pulled the motors out and you'll see here I've got rust still on there. Of course, the salt water been out in the sea. And what it was, I mean, you've got to realise it's only going to take a tablespoon of water to get inside that unit. So my advice is when you store it, make sure you actually pull your fish seeker in half, make sure the battery's out of it, and just make sure to keep it in half when you store it. That way the air's actually getting inside it. Because what's happened here is I left mine done up when it was stored, not realising it must have had a little bit of water in there, and either that or it's just condensated because it's all been done up. So of course I've had a brand new fish seeker and been used a couple of times and then went to use it again, and this is what the motors look like. So these are completely seized, one of them slightly turning, but yeah. So yeah, the other warning you'll get, if they're only just slightly seized or just one motor seized, that will have it, you'll have it looping back round to you. Now if they're both seized, your fish seeker will actually do a big beep and it won't even turn on. It will make a beep noise when it goes to go. So best way to free this up again to get it going without damaging it, if you don't want to pull it apart. I mean, it's best to try and do it this way before you pull it apart anyway. Soak it with CRC, not just in here, you want it soaking right inside those gaps there. You've got some brushes that come in, touching the motor, you want to soak the hell out of them, they're all seized. And if it's still not working, well then your next option is to do this, get a wee container and pour petrol over it and let it soak in petrol. Let it soak overnight or let it soak for 6 hours. Every few hours just come out and check it, see if you're getting any spin on it. So you'll be wanting to hold that and then spin these to free them up. And of course these ones here, I've actually got them freed up slightly already. So you see there, that one's already spinning. Oh, if I can get a grip of it. But anyway, so that's going to be your best way to clean them up. Alright, now after you've done it with the petrol soak, again then spray the shit out of it with CRC again, or WD-40, anything that's going to lube it up. And I mean, even once you put them back in, now I'm looking at the state of these, it's probably worthwhile actually giving them a coat of grease. And I'm just saying that way it's just going to water protect them. Either that or maybe we should be spray painting them. Take them out, if you've actually even got a new one, take them out and spray paint them so they don't get this happen to them. Bit of a shame, but even though the rust is here, even if you did stop that, of course you are still going to get, if there's moisture in there, you're still going to get your brushes getting seized and rusted in place in there, and your shaft. So as I say, the best way to avoid it is to store your fish seeker split in half. Right, so that's your fix anyway. So this here will be all working now. Let's see, I'll pull them out to show you here. It's on the grass. Right. Of course that's actually all pretty good, but you'll see there, so I got a bit and it grips. So it's going to be a problem when it's going out. You need to get this whole thing free flowing. You might find, because some of these actually haven't got bearings, they've just got a brass bush. So you might find inside there it's got a bit of corrosion as well. So just keep soaking it and keep doing it until it's completely freed up. The other thing you can do is actually take that off and then put yourself a drill on the end of here, and then just turn the drill on, and that's actually what I'm about to do. and that'll just help free it up a bit quicker so you're not sitting there going backwards and forwards with a tool. But they're your options anyway. So that's your fix, that'll stop it going in circles. Now once you fix them and they are free flowing, and to check them before you put them in, of course you can connect these to 3 volts, and even put them on a 6 volt just to quickly check them, just see how they go. What I do last time, yeah, actually I did, I put them on a 6 volt I think. And just to make sure that double check they are spinning, chuck them back in and you should be away. If it's still going in circles in you, it'll mean that inside the fish seeker, right at the end of this cone here where your GPS thing is, it's probably got a bit of corrosion in there as well. The odds are it will have, because it's an exposed circuit board with circuitry on it down the cone here, right on the tip of it. So if my motors look like that, the odds are that probably looks pretty bad. Now of course you're going to have to cut this open to get to it, which is going to be a pain, and then re-glue it back up, use Marley glue to glue it back up. But if that is the problem, I mean, you could try one thing before you have to pull it right apart, and tip a whole heap of baking soda down there, and then pour in a heap of vinegar, and that might just clean off some of the corrosion on there. For me, that's what's worked on here. So this one's all corrosion, everything's off, so that way it's all worked with the circuit board. Luckily the circuit board hasn't fried, everything's actually working on it. Right, and for your grease, for your motors here, you got shafts here you want to maintain. So the best thing you want to be doing here, get this all nice and clean in here as well. Of course down in there I actually put a bit of grease around those shafts inside there, and then you'll see here, of course this is where your pipe goes down the middle. Let's get this a bit clearer for you. Right, so this piece of pipe is down the middle here and it's full of grease, and of course that grease goes down a wee column and it actually goes in and it's greasing the shaft inside there for the wee jet units. So the best way to force that grease to actually get it right down into it, you'll see down right there, there it is there. And of course, as you can see, mine's off at the moment. So I found the easiest way to fill them up is actually to use this and get yourself an Allen key or something roundish that'll actually insert inside it, and use that to push and force the grease down into it. And then I just pull the whole thing back off, refill it with grease, push it back down into it. I mean, mine's full now, so what I've done is repack this full of grease, and it's going to go back on. And now that's one backup lot of grease that's in there that can be pushed back down into the shafts. Make sure you do that. I mean, when you first get them, it looks like these are full of grease still, but the grease hasn't gone down in there, so I actually just push it down. So that's about it for your maintenance of them. Initially there is one other issue you can get with these, and that is this main shaft here, not this middle one that goes to the back for you to tie up to, but your one here to undo the motors with the Allen key. Some people have the problem where it strips, you can't undo it. Mine was actually stripped from the factory, went to undo it and it wouldn't actually undo, and I had to look inside it, and there was actually a fault from the factory. I don't know if it's in all of them. I'm actually not going to see through there anyway. Let's get this up to the light, see if we can show you. How are we going to do this like that? Will that work? Oh yeah, there we go. Right, you'll see in there, right down the bottom, and there's where the wee nut is, that shaft goes on. You can see that nut. Well, that's a piece of plastic casing that's actually broken. I don't know if it wasn't actually moulded properly or if it was broken from the get-go, but as you can see, there's a piece actually missing out of the wee chunk. So my nut's just sitting there spinning. So if you do have that problem, it could be that it was a fault. I don't know, as I say, this could be a fault from the factory, because I never had plastic fall out of it, so it must have had a break in it, or maybe it didn't get moulded properly. So the only way, well, as you can see, the only way to fix it, I cut a hole here to find out what was going on. I didn't want to pull the whole unit apart and pull all the glue and everything apart, so I've just cut a wee hole on the top, and what you can do is put a screwdriver down there and just stop that nut from spinning. And if you want to get some glue, put some glue on the end of your screwdriver once you've got the the shaft into the nut a wee bit so it's lined up, and just go down there and put a few blobs of glue around it just to hold it in place. I mean, it's not going to hold it forever, but at least it's going to fix it better than what it is like that. So there might be a few issues you find with the fish seeger. As I say, that's the only one I found that was actually seemed to be possibly a factory fault, maybe, I don't know. As I say, it came from the shop like that with that problem with the nut in the middle, the shaft. But yeah, of course, with the motor seizing up, that's all on us having to store it. As I say, store it in half, don't have it stored, done up, because it creates condensation and then it rusts the motors and sticks them together. Then your thing's going to get going around in circles. Right, so don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe if it's helped you out, given the info you need. And best luck with your fishing. Hopefully your fish seeger's back up and running.